Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, it is about 8:25 a.m. on this Thursday, April 11th, 2019. No, I am not working because if I was, right about now, I'd be going into the lounge, putting my stuff away, getting ready to clock in and go from there. But no, I am not working today. I am off. So, yeah, I'm here to talk about, of course, as the title says, Season 9 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, aka the final season. Kind of discuss what has happened so far with the beginning of the end, which premiered this past Saturday, and you can currently watch on demand, as well as ladies and gentlemen, talk about what's to come, probably even reread or reiterate, easy for me to say, what I had said before about what's probably going to occur and what should occur um, after watching the premiere this past week. Because honestly, there are some moments in there that should happen, but we don't know yet if they will. But I think, obviously, with a lot of references, name drops, and all that, I think it's only a matter of time before, excuse me, before we have something happen, and I truly believe it's going to. Um, anyway, everybody's got a lot of the BabsCon on here, so because BabsCon is coming up, everybody's added BabsCon to their name here on Twitter. Anyway, getting back on what I was talking about here. Anyway, um, just overall going to discuss what's going to be and what's happened and what seems to be, to me, what seems to be foreshadowed, at least kind of lining up to what we're probably going to end up getting later down the line. Oh, I don't want to put it. Hold on for a sec. There we go. Like I said, what could be lining up later on down the line from what we've seen in this premiere. Now, I haven't watched all of the premiere yet. I did DVR it, and I did do a DVD recording on it. So it's now part of a disc that I'm currently working on, just like I did last year with Season 8. So let's talk about the beginning of the end. From what I've been able to look at myself, from what I've been able to hear people say, this basically, the beginning of the end that premiered this past Saturday, is probably one of the better premieres any season prior in Friendship with Magic has ever been given. Or some people put it, had, viewers and fans have ever had. This is probably one of the better ones. Now, of course, as I've talked about before, and I'm sure people have pointed out, you've got some people that are a little negative on it because of the pacing and stuff. And yeah, you can probably tell that there is some pacing issues maybe in the eyes of some, like, how it slow starts and stuff and, all this. Anyway, besides that, though, the overall consensus is this is one of the better, just looking at something here, better premieres that the show is given. Well, and considering that it is its last season, I think they need to start off huge. They need to start off in a big way. Um, as far as Grogar being introduced in this season and being basically saved for the last season, I have to commemorate. I have to commend, I should say, the staff. I have to commend the staff over at AllSpark Animation and Hasbro for holding off on this guy for so long, because you know, basically when you go back to G1 and you read up on his interpretation there, and how he was presented, he's basically built as this big bad. Like, this is the one that you don't want to see. You don't that if you're one of the good guys, you don't want to have to worry about encountering or facing off with, because he's too much of a threat. He's too powerful. And that's basically what we're getting here, though. That's basically, what we're getting here, because of the fact that, right off the bat, he gathers all the villains prior that the fans that Twilight and her friends have faced. He's able to gather them all together, and to show how powerful he is to these villains, he takes this one little small orb about this size, gives it to Tirek. Tirek devours it, and it's just this one little orb, and he's able to go not full size, but basically he's able to grow to a third of what he was originally. Just powerful enough to where he's like the muscle of the group. Which essentially, I think that's what that's the joke right there. Is he's supposed to be like the muscle now? Anyway, yeah. What was it? Oh yeah. But with Grogar, being saved for last, and the way he's presented here, the fact that, as I've said in some of the forums, as I said at one of the forums, he's basically a villain, and I even said it, I think here on one of my YouTube, on one of my videos here on YouTube. Let me check here. Yeah, it was a live stream that I did back on the 7th. I said basically at the start of it, I said in the title, the beginning of the end, plus Grogar doesn't mess around. And that's essentially what we're getting here with this guy, is he's not messing around. He's basically like, look, you are he's looking at Tirek, he's looking at Crystallis, he's looking at Sombra, and heck, he's even looking at Cozy Glow. And I'll get to Cozy Glow in a moment. But he's looking at them as four of the most intelligent, three of the most powerful, and one of the more intelligent adversaries that Twilight and her friends have ever faced, and yet Twilight and her friends or their allies always find a way to beat them. They always found a way to take them out. And his reasoning for that is because they work together. Now, some fan at one of the MLP forums used a screenshot from the season 2 premiere of Discord showing Twilight potentially a future where her friends and her just go their separate ways and not want to have anything to do with each other. And even though a lot of people corrected him and saying it was only for that episode, you have to wonder if maybe that's playing on the mind of the writers, of Nicole Dubuc and the lady writers and Josh Haber and whoever else, as potentially something they could slip in to the story arc, especially as we approach the end. Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if maybe they'll pull something like that off. But the other thing that a lot of fans are happy about, a lot of people, like I said, a lot of fans are happy about, and Dr. Wolf has talked about this, Miss Anthopony has talked about this, a map that is, and I'm sure Voice of Reason is going to bring it up, and Silver Quill as well, is basically in this last season, the creative staff is honoring the one last wish that Lauren Faust, had for this show. And that was to make Twilight not just a princess, an alicorn, if you will, but to make her Celestia successor. In other words, she would be the one to pick up the mantle, have the torch passed down to her. So everybody's kind of happy that's happening, but not just yet, because what they're doing is they're now kind of building towards it. Like it's like I said in one video, the easing Twilight into this position. Like they're going to take their time. I'm with it to see if she is mentally and physically ready for a position like this. So a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that they're honoring Lauren Faust's, final wish to do that. And the way, and like I said, the way they're doing it is they're incorporating it into the final season, as well as they're incorporating it into this massive story arc involving the baddest of the bad. The main guy, the main antagonist you don't want to mess with because he's the most powerful of them all. Easy for me to say. He's the most powerful of them all. And getting back to Grogar again, him basically bringing these villains together, in a sense, basically telling them, hey, the reason you failed is because Twilight and her friends always work together. It's like when she's weak or one of them's weak, she's strong for them, or they're all strong for each other. And that's why, in his viewpoint, Tyrek, Cozy, Chrysalis, and Sombra were defeated. Now, I know some people will point out, well, Sombra was defeated by, in a sense, by Cadence and Spike. Cozy Glow was defeated by the young/student 6. Chrysalis was defeated by Starlight. And even before that, Cadence and Shining Armor. So not just necessarily Twilight and her friends, which Tyrek is the main example of. Tyrek is like the main example of that. Like, he's the only one that really got trounced. And the way Grogar is being positioned here by bringing them together is his plan is, look, we use the same strategy they've used against you. We bond, we work together, and they don't stand a chance. Even though, from a story perspective, and you can kind of see it at the end of the episode, the villains like Chrysalis, Tyrek, Cozy, they're not too sure about working with Grogar because they know that potentially this guy's only out for himself. But what I get from Grogar's interaction with these other villains, and basically saying that because they didn't work together, or they, and they allowed Twilight, her friends, and their allies to defeat them so easily, the interpretation I'm getting out of that is that these villains, in his eyes, should have struck when they had the moment. Like in Tyrek's case, once he sucked the magic out of the main six and Discord and all that, he should have just said, okay, I got your magic now, so bye-bye. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, that takes care of those 6. They're dead now. Or those 8, they're dead now. Basically, that's what Grogar's looking at. It's like, you had the opportunity to finish them off. You should have finished them off. And I think, in a sense, that's why he's now, I guess, taking command. It's like, look, no more messing around. You have the opportunity to take them out. Take them out. So, I'll probably do a video of that down the line. Well, you have a good point there, maybe, Ace Ray, and thank you, you two, for joining the chat. You do have a good theory of all villains being defeated and Grogar doing stuff himself. We'll get into that. We will get into that. But point is, guys, when when you look at how he's being positioned, it's almost like, in a sense, as I've mentioned, it's like I've mentioned, it's almost in a sense that um, he's just like had enough. He's had enough of seeing the most powerful and if not one of the more intelligent of villains be defeated so easily. Get cocky and arrogant and all that when they haven't finished the job. And I think that's how he's going to be played up. Like, let's say there's a moment down the line where he does show how powerful he is. Twilight and her friends and their allies encounter him, and he just wipes the floor with them. And then, just to add insult to injury, he takes one of them, maybe Spike or Sunburst, whoever, out with an additional blow to kind of give an example to the villains of saying, "See, when they were down, that's what you should have done. You should have continued the attack. You should have finished them off, like I just probably finished that guy off, or whatever." That's what I think the positioning him as someone that's like, look, you have the opportunity, you should have finished them off. So, but we'll just have to wait and see what they do. But I've got a feeling, I have this strong feeling, guys, that's something we'll probably see down the line. But I do like the idea that the building, they're doing all this, they're bringing this all together within the final season. Because if you want to talk about one final test for Twilight to prove that not only has she come full circle when it comes to being the Princess of Friendship, and Princess of Friendship, and in a sense becoming an equal to the princesses, but this is a big test for her to show that not only is she all that, but she's also worthy of leading an entire country in the future. And I think that's what potentially what we're leading towards as well, is that moment. So honestly, I think there's no doubt. So honestly, I think there's no doubt, in my opinion, that that as we approach the end, we're really gonna have something set up in a way that's really gonna uh, get people talking. I mean, we know that with San Diego Comic-Con coming up, we're going to get another trailer for the second half of the season. So to me, what we're getting an example of here, and basically, like I said in one video's title, Grogar is the kind not to be messed with. I think we're definitely going to get a good example of that. Now, like I've said before, I think one of the things that's going to occur, and I said this in the moments that I think needs to happen, and I'm going to get into that right now, is as we get closer. I mean, I know it's far off still, but as we get closer to the last seat, because basically we're going to be going into episode 3 this Saturday, so we'll literally be about 10 episodes away, 10 weeks away. But like I said before, and excuse me there, if I find it here it is. But this is what I said. One of the things that need to happen. This was the third thing I said. Well, actually, it was the first thing I said in here. I said that one of the first things that needs to happen or has to occur, or I think that's what I said. Yeah, that have to occur, is the main 6/8 finding out about Grogar, either by encountering him or learning about him behind certain events through piecing. I put pursing. That was stupid. But piecing the clues together. And I said that this has to/should happen, in my opinion, in the mid-season finale. So basically, what I'm looking at is you have to end the mid-season finale on a cliffhanger with the main 6, /8 finding out that the person or the individual behind all this is Grogar, and then you use the second half of the season to start building up to that. In fact, I even followed that up by saying that in the second half, maybe right off the bat, to counteract that, at the start of the second half of the season, you should have Gusty reveal herself to Twilight and her friends and reveal that she somehow merged with the seed that would grow into the Tree of Harmony and beyond without the pillars knowing, and that this should occur in the second half of the final season. Because this is another thing that, a lot of fans, are talking about. In fact, one fan even here at the MLP forums that I'm looking at right now, even brought up the fact that Gusty even asked the question of Gusty the Great in season 9, because now it's like the second or third time her name's been dropped. And there's an old saying, third time's a charm. If this is the third time that Gusty's name's been dropped, and especially if it's dropped by someone like Crystalis, then there's no doubt, in my opinion, and I think anybody would agree, that Gusty's got to show up. But the way I look at it and the way I think it should be positioned is they should have her show up in the second half, because like I said, what you need to do is you need to end the first half on a cliffhanger where the main 6/8 find out about Grogar's existence, find out about him being the one behind this, and probably realize that they're now going to be in for the fight of their freaking lives. So to me, I think, honestly, you need to have the characters find out about this guy, right off the, towards the end. You need them to basically, well, they need to do that basically to build towards towards that second half. They need to utilize that second half if they've done in the past, if not more so now, to really emphasize how big this situation is. And they need to treat each episode in that second half, in my opinion, like a chapter. Like, Marvel used to do this with the Spider-Man show back in the 90s, the 90s Spider-Man show, where they would do an episode, but at the top they would say what chapter it was. Like, they would do Sins of the Father chapter 9 or chapter 2, and then they would say what the title of the episode would be, kind of the subtitle. And to me, that's what they need to do. They need to do something like that, I hope. I hope they do something like that to kind of emphasize how important this is, to kind of emphasize how big of a deal this situation is for, not just for the fans, but for the characters, they need to do something like that, in my opinion, in the second half. But yeah, getting back to the beginning of the end, because I know I kind of went off a little bit. I thought it was a good beginning. I thought it was I will be in agreement that it was a good start. From what I've heard and from what little I've seen, it's a good start. There's no doubt about that. I love the idea that you have this group of villains being led by the big bad, if you will, who's basically had enough of their failures and is basically coming out, like I said earlier, and saying, look, you had the advantage to take them out once and for all, why didn't you do it? Or something like that. So I like that idea. I like the setting that up. And I love the fact that you're getting all these references, you're getting all these hints and name drops in this first first season, in these first two episodes, to kind of give you an idea, give you a taste of what's to come. And like I said about Twilight in her ascension to, be the successor of um, of Celestia, I like my thought process is this, and I even mentioned this as one of the things that has to occur or may occur, that once she becomes the new ruler, which looks like they're building up towards, like Lauren Faust planned, they do it, it happens, but there's a twist. And that twist being that Twilight will basically say, look, I appreciate, basically, I believe they're going to have Twilight come out, and as her first rule as leader of Equestria is to give back the land to the ponies and creatures that live here, that want to live here in harmony. They live here in peace. And basically state that these ponies and creatures do not need a ruler always watching over them because they could take care of themselves. And that should be one of the last things that happens to close out the season, the series. The other thing I think, in my opinion, I've mentioned this, that should happen is an epilogue scene. Like one of the last things we see before, let's say, the book closes, like a lot of people are projecting it will, which would be the last thing we see, is we need an epilogue scene. An epilogue scene that takes place a few years, or moons in their case, in the future, showing a new generation of students being taught at Twilight School and being taught by the young/student 6, as well as have some of the students be the children of some of the members of the main 6/8. Maybe perhaps Sparity, Spike Rarity, Fluttercord, Fluttershy Discord, Soarin' Dash, etc. Like Big Mac, Sugar Bell, Sunburst, Starlight, Mod Pie, Mudbriar. You get the idea. So to me, that's one thing that should happen. And I think, if believe it or not, guys, I think was kind of hinted at us. Already with this premiere. So to me, that's what has to happen. That's what has to occur, in my opinion. Now, with that said, and everything, now with that all that said, again, I'm going to base, like I said, beginning to the end, I thought was a good start, and it's just going to hopefully speed the momentum up, or give the season the momentum it needs to go out in a big, big way. So yeah, there's not much more I can say about the premiere than that. But as far as the rest of season 9 goes, it definitely looks like it's going to hopefully be more hit than miss. Just the way the fact that they're bringing back certain characters. They're actually dedicating an episode in the first half to the villains themselves, to see how they get along or work together. So that's kind of cool. So overall, it's, to me, I like the idea. I like the idea that we're getting something. We're getting something extremely interesting. Extremely good, I should say. I like the idea that we're basically getting a season that needs to that's really more, in my opinion, when we get towards the end of it, it's going to be like a thank you, because we're getting things that we're getting characters we've been wanting to see. We're getting, moments we've been wanting, and we're probably going to get more as time goes on. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to a lot of that, and just cannot wait. I mean, if the beginning of the end, this premiere, is any indication of what's to come, then I think the season's in good hands. I mean, when you think about it, they brought the Lady Riders, Christine and Joanne, back for this moment. They brought them back to do this episode or to do this premiere and maybe do some future episodes as well. So I like that. I like the idea that they did that. I really do. I do like the idea that they did that. They're bringing back some of the writers that want to come back and contribute, if you will, to the season, to the finale. So I'm glad they're doing that, and I cannot wait in the end to see what we're going to get. Um, Now, the biggest question is Rainbow Road Trip. A lot of people are wondering if that's going to have any significance on the season. I think it is, because, nobody thought, oh, well, the movie would have any connection. The movie did have connection. It was connected throughout season 8. So I definitely think Rainbow Road Trip is going to be the same way. I don't know how much of a significant connection it's going to be, but I can definitely tell that if we're bringing back the rainbow powers for this and probably later on, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a really interesting season. I'll put it that way. Like I said, I'll put it that way. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the future. So cannot wait to see what Rainbow Road Trip, if that has any connection with season 9, which I think it will, what it's going to contribute. I know I sound like I'm rambling. I do apologize. I'm just looking at some other stuff here too. But yeah, season 9 to me is definitely season 9 to me is, in my opinion, definitely something to look for. It's definitely, to me, going to be the season that we're going to enjoy. Like, even if some episodes may not be the best episodes, or even if some episodes have more flaws than positives, I think we're going to be able to overlook them and definitely look at the fact that this is a season that is worth watching. It's to me, there's no other way to describe it. I mean, the fact that at the start of the season, we're essentially, as a lot of people point out, we're essentially getting an overarching seasonal story arc. This is something that we have not gotten since mostly season 4. If you think about it, we've not really gotten it since season 4. I know some people will say season 8, but in reality, season 8, yes, it did introduce us to the school and everything, and that played a significant part somewhat. But it really didn't start picking up until like the end of the first half and into the second half with Cozy Glow. That's when it picked up a little bit. But here, we're essentially getting the story arc right off the bat. And again, we haven't had something like that since season 4 and somewhat season 5, but you get the idea. So I can't wait to see what they do, honestly. I really can't. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be cool. One of the things I do see happening, honestly, and I didn't mention this, but I see Twilight getting a vision just like Celestia did in season 4. Because remember, Celestia got that vision about Turek escaping Tartarus and making his return, earning everything. So to me, it's almost, because of the fact that they're setting her up to take Celestia's place, it's almost like, to me, almost obvious. It's very obvious, in my opinion. She's going to get the same kind of she's going to have the same thing happen to her, but in this case, she's going to get a vision of Grogar, and in this vision, she's probably going to come face to face with Gusty. I can see that, and Gusty's going to tell her, "Look, this is what's happening. This is who's behind it, and you guys got to be ready." So, I definitely see Twilight getting a moment like that. I definitely see Twilight getting a moment like that. So there's no doubt there. And I also definitely say, and I also definitely believe, in my opinion, that, in my opinion, guys, that Chrysalis is going to get reformed. Not totally, but, well, not like, she, to me, it's going to be more of an unexpected reform, because I don't know why, but I get this feeling there's going to be a moment that takes place where she's going to come to the age. She's going to come and protect Ocellus. Like, she's going to see Ocellus is on the verge of being. She's going to see Ocellus, a changeling, if you will, hurt, and she's going to probably see one of the villains, Turek or whatever, coming, coming closer to finish her off, and that's going to be the moment right there where Chrysalis will be like, no, I can't let this happen. She may not be a changeling the way to me, she's gonna have that moment where she's gonna go protect Ocellus, because even though Ocellus is not the way she should be as a changeling, she's still a changeling. So I see that being Chrysalis's, moment of redemption, but just unexpectedly. Like, when she does that, all of a sudden she's going to go through the same change that Thorak and the other changelings did, and then that's when she's going to kind of get like a new look. It'll surprise her. She may not be used to it. She may not like it, but there's going to be an explanation of the reason this happened is because you showed love. You gave love by protecting Ocellus. Now, could I be right about that? And let me just adjust my mic there. Could I be right about that? Maybe not, but I think, honestly, it's just too obvious, in my opinion, it's just too obvious, in my opinion, that that's what we're going to be getting. Or something like that's going to happen somehow. In my opinion, it's just too obvious. Honestly, it's just way too obvious for my taste. For that not to happen. It's just way too obvious. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. So I know we'll probably get those. Those are two moments I definitely know will probably happen in some way. The other thing I would expect to happen, and I mentioned this in the things that I talked about. The other thing I think that has to happen. Oh, these are actually two things. We have to have Grogar get his bell back, which would make him a bigger threat, as well as we have to introduce the Dark Realm. In case you guys don't know, in G1, Grogar had the Dark Realm, in which he would take someone or some pony and toss them in there and banish them there until he was defeated, and then that would be the only way they get free. To me, they have to introduce that here, and they have to do it by taking a minor character, and having them sacrifice themselves to be tossed into the Dark Realm by Grogar. That's what I'm thinking needs to happen. Who that minor character could be is anybody's guess. But honestly, that's one thing I think needs to happen. Those are other two things I think need to happen, and I think they're going to. I think, honestly, they're going to do that. I definitely see them doing it. But like I said, how and when it's how and when in season 9, that's up to the creative staff. But I think it's obvious, in my opinion, that that's what they need to do. I mean, like I said, you're building up to all these moments, if you will. You're building up to this scenario, if you will. And to me, the most obvious thing you need to do to make your villain a bigger threat than he already is you need to introduce two things that are associated with him originally. That being, like I said, the Dark Realm, You need to introduce that, and you need to somehow get his bell back. You need to somehow allow him to get his bell back um, in this season. You have to do that because if you do that, it shows that he is a big threat. That he's such a big that he's a bigger threat than he already is because his bell apparently will give him more power. Now I know some people are like, well, when we get towards the end, and he has all the power and everything, that he's going to reveal that he never had any intentions of sharing Equestria with the other villains. And that's an obvious. That is definitely an obvious. Don't get me wrong. That is an obvious. Like I said, don't get me wrong about that. But even if it's an obvious situation, to me, you have to show he's a big threat and he's very powerful to when even the villains find out that he's going against his word. You just have him use the power just to smack the villains away like this. And then that's it. Just show how powerful he is. So, to me, I think that's what they need. I think that's what needs to happen. Now, speaking of villains, some people have been debating that the way Cozy Glow's acting, that Grogar is kind of like the red herring. Like, he might be powerful, but he's not the most powerful. And that title belongs to Cozy, and that Cozy is not exactly who she seems to be. But the fact that she's acting the way she is, acting like, oh, don't ask me, I'm just a kid, or I've never heard about Grogar before. It's obvious. It seems very obvious to a lot of folks that she's pretending, she's playing off the fact that she's too young to know this or that, and folks are kind of being suspicious. Like, yeah, there's something more going on with this character, and I think we're either going to find out the truth about that. I think we'll just find, and I think obviously we're going to find out the truth about that in the mid-season finale, or we're going to find that out at the end. We're going to find out, at the end. And where we get the twist of the real threat is Cozy Glow. Like, just when it looks like Grogar is defeated and all evil's gone, that's when we're going to get the reveal that Cozy Glow is the real villain. She's the real threat. But we'll have to wait and see. Craziest stuff has happened, as the old saying goes. Craziest stuff has happened. I mean, if you're a fan of, let's say, the Pixar films and all that, then in the Disney films, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. Just when you think one individual could be the villain, all of a sudden you get a twist, and the one you wouldn't suspect being the villain turns out to be the villain. So I think that's why some folks are looking at the fact that that there's something more going on with this character. Like, something just doesn't add up with her. And that's probably true. And it's probably very, very true. Like, something just doesn't feel right about this character. It's like something feels off about her. Just the way she's acting dumb or playing dumb. So I think we'll find. I look at it this way: sooner or later, we're going to get the truth. We're going to find out what's really going on, and they're probably just going to go from there with it. So really, that's the only thing I can think of. Is that's the only thing and I'm sure a lot of folks can think of is that we're going to get a twist. We're going to get a villain twist at the end, and that villain twist is going to be Cozy. Revealing that she's not exactly what she seems or who she says she is. So we'll have to, like I said, we'll just wait and see what they do. And yeah, I can't really say any more than that, guys. I can't really say any more than that, but except, you know, season 9 is definitely shaping up to be a good season. I mean, if you already got fans speculating all the way towards the end or towards the mid-season finale, like I am, of what's to come, what should or has to occur or will occur because of the hints and stuff dropped, um, it, in the beginning and stuff, and just the way things are being built up. I honestly think this is going to probably be a very good season. Now, like I said, will there probably be some hiccups here and there? Absolutely. You can't expect an overall perfect season, but just the way it's being presented, in my opinion, is even the episodes that might have more flaws than positives will be overlooked and looked at will be overlooked and be appreciated for what they are. And in my opinion, things are not really going to start picking up until the end of the first half of the season and mostly the second half of the season. That's when I think it's going to be picked up. Like I said, I believe honestly, in my opinion, they're going to find at the end of the first half, they're going to find out, Twilight and her friends and allies are going to find out about Grogar either by encountering him or piecing the clues together and finding out that there's only one being that could be powerful enough to do all this, free Cozy and Tierik from Tartarus, resurrect Sombra, stuff like that. And then that's when things are going to really, really pick up, if you know what I mean. They're really going to start taking off in the future. So, yeah, it's really turning out, again, like I said, to be an interesting season. It's really going to be something that I don't know if we're going to get a traditional two-parter at the end to close out the season, or if they're going to take it up a notch and give us a 3 to maybe 4-parter. Who knows? I mean, you could technically say they gave us a 3-parter with, or 4-parter. Yeah, you could traditionally say they gave us a 3-parter with, the end of season 3 and Twilight becoming a princess and that being followed through in season 4. You could say that, but I'm talking about having a 3-parter in the same season, not separated by seasons. So again, I wouldn't put it past them to do that. And to me, that would probably be the best way to close out the season, just to show how big and important this whole scenario is, in my opinion. So yeah, I can't really say any more than that, guys. I mean, season 9 just began and everything, but I'm just here. I know I'm sounding like I'm rambling now and everything. I do apologize, but I'm just here to give my thoughts on what I think's coming and what's going to be happening in the near future. As far as the season is concerned, what has to occur and what needs to occur. So with that said, I really don't have any more to say, except I will show you one thing I did get recently. I want you to look right there. I don't know if you could see it. I don't know if you could see it right there, but right there is my newest Twilight Sparkle plush that I got at Target recently when when me and my mom went to do our taxes. Oh, sorry about that. Can you guys still hear me? All right, you guys can still hear me. Sorry about that. I stepped on the wire here. But yeah, this Twilight Sparkle. Get these wires out of the way here. Again, sorry about that. That was my fault. My fault in general. Make sure everything's good. But yeah, this Twilight Sparkle. Let's get the mic here. I got at Target recently when we went to do our taxes in Riverbank. Yeah, we went to Riverbank to do our taxes, and this was $11. I think this is about $11 actually, $1 less than it was originally priced at. And it's actually a bigger version than that small one right behind me. But I got it at Target. The other ones they did have were Pinky and Songbird Serenade. And I was originally going to get Songbird, but the big difference was Songbird didn't have a tag. Uh, I wasn't sure about Pinky or anything, but Songbird didn't have a tag. And I can still get them online if I want to. But yeah, I got myself a Twilight here, so got me a big Twilight. Be careful this time. But yeah, like I said, I got myself a big Twilight there. Make sure everything's good. All right. But yeah, like I said, I got myself a big Twilight. And then yesterday at my job, and I did my best to hide these as best I could, or at least one of them. We have big Easter baskets with MLP. Actually, there was just 2 of them, and they're going for like $20.94. And I hid one of them, and then I put another one on a high shelf. So I don't know if they're going to probably, if not already, got that down. So yeah, hopefully if the one that I still hid is still hidden, I will try to get that. If not, I could probably look online and get it later on. But it was interesting to see that because I'm thinking they have to have something Easter-wise for them, and they do, big baskets. So, but yeah, but anyway, besides that, really not much more to say, guys. Just like I said, wanted to come on here and kind of talk more about the premiere for season 9, and as well as kind of give my thoughts on what I believe is going to occur for the rest of the season. So, but anyway, let me know what you guys think though down below. Comment if you like. Thank you all for tuning in live and commenting. Let me know what you guys think down below. Post live stream. And I will talk to you all later. So till then, God bless. Take care. And I am out. Take care, guys.